What's going on, guys? Ted from Immersion here. We're back at PAX East 2019. We're right next to the arena. Things are very loud, but I'm here at the Super Crush K.O. booth, and I'm here with, and I already forgot your name. I feel like a jerk. Mo.
Yes.
Got it. Never mind. I remembered.
You remembered.
So, I'll splice in some gameplay footage so people can see, but why don't we talk a little bit about what the game is and kind of the inspiration behind it?
Sure, yeah. So Super Crush K.O. is a side-scrolling brawler where you punch robots and look stylish while you're doing it. So we have a couple of kind of different kinds of gameplay in it. So there's like your basic kind of like melee-ish combat. We have like shooting mechanics in there as well, and a whole bunch of like special moves too. And so the game is really about like sizing up the situation. We spawn like, we have a lot of like robots on screen at once, like a lot of enemies to deal with, and it's about using like the right moves in the right situation. The story is that these robots have invaded Earth, and they stole your cat, and you gotta save your cat. And then in the process, you kind of also unwittingly save the world.
All right. As one does, yeah. So again, I played through the whole demo level you've got here. It's very fun. It's very fast-paced. It has a lot of older, while it is up to date with all the current graphical capabilities of the Switch and Steam too, I believe.
Switch and Steam, that's correct.
It gives me a very nostalgic, old school beat 'em up. Things you might have played in the arcade, things you might have played back on your Super Nintendo and Genesis. But it's got a lot of tighter controls. It's got a very you can kind of even see it here, a very pinky pastel kind of color scheme. It's very pretty. The concept art, and you said this is what the cutscene art is like this as well.
So a lot of good stuff there. So we're like really inspired by like arcade games. We make shoot 'em ups as well. So like stuff like Robotron and like Defender and stuff are like big inspirations for us and our company in general. But then also games like Bayonetta and Devil May Cry and those kinds of things. So we like to focus on this kind of like arcade style gameplay where like each play session can be 10 minutes or like 2 hours, like whatever you kind of want. And like it's kind of very score focused and kind of skill based, right? Yeah. So it's not about like leveling up your character, it's about like leveling up your skills, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it has in a very Devil May Cry Bayonetta type way, the ranking when you finish a level based on points and the way you did things on the typical D all the way through S rank. And that's kind of a good way that's how you're judging, like you said, leveling up your skill rather than your character. And there are power-ups and things you get throughout the level that do give you new abilities. So there is some of that. So it's, every gameplay session you're going to get new things, whether it's the beginning of the level or the end of the level. And again, the level I played through here seems like it's an early level in the game.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm guessing there's going to be like boss battles and things. I mean, there is one here towards the end.
That was a mini boss.
Oh, okay, a mini boss.
Yeah, thank you. We have like more worlds, more enemies, boss battles, that kind of thing. When we introduce new enemies, they create different situations and like different strategies that you need to use to counter them. And of course, we just like ramp up the difficulty in general. But one of the things we try to do is make it so that if like you can play the game the way that you want to. So if you kind of want to like run through the game, we're pretty generous with like continues and lives and things like that. Okay. But then if you want to go back and kind of like S-rank things, that's where it gets really interesting. And so you can maybe play through the game once and be like, this was good, and you can kind of start going back through it and being like, okay, what are all the mechanics? What are all the like scoring mechanics I can do it? What are all the more in-depth mechanics that exist in the game? And you can go as deep or as not deep into that as you want.
Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty good way to describe it, because like I said, I played through the game myself. I did die, I'll be honest. I died once. But I didn't feel discouraged. I jumped right back in. I had a good time. So, all right, so let's talk about, I guess, length. I know it's obviously pretty early on, and we have basically half a level to the mini-boss.
Yeah.
But how long do you anticipate the game being kind of from start to finish?
Hard to say, but probably around like 4 to 5 hours.
Oh, wow, okay.
4 to 5, not 45.
Yeah, 4 to 5. Yeah, no. And I mean, in a side-scroller beat-em-up, that's pretty impressive, I would say.
Yeah, and again, like there's a lot of replay value in kind of like going over the levels and like S-ranking them and like upping your skills, really. And we have like leaderboards, and you can, score chase with your friends and all that kind of stuff.
So, we talked about the game, we talked about kind of the length and things, and I know release date sounds like it's a little flexible, but it's 2019?
Yeah, definitely this year.
Okay. And do we have a price point yet, or no?
No, we're still figuring that out.
Okay.
Yeah.
and obviously right now the only plan is a single player experience playing through this campaign mode.
Yeah.
But if things go, I mean, obviously it's hard to say anything, but if things go well, are there plans for kind of digital content in the future, or, you know, I want to say expansions, but you know what I mean? That kind of stuff?
Yeah, like we always kind of think about that stuff, we like, as it happens. So yeah, we'll kind of we'll see how it goes. We have some thoughts, like there are places where the game can go. Okay. But yeah, we kind of like take a step back, and of course, we'll see how it does. And like we also like want to talk to the fans and the players and figure out what do they want, because oftentimes once we put the game out in the world, we find that people have a different idea of what the game is about than we do, and then we want to kind of like engage with the community and figure out what they find interesting, and then figure out what we find interesting, and then like how do we make content that fits both of those things.
All right, and if people wanted to get a hold of you guys to see the game, or where would they go? Social media, websites, otherwise?
So supercrushko.com is the website, or you can go to vertexpop.com. We're also on Twitter at vertexpop.
Okay. I'll have links in the description to all of that stuff. And I guess we should just say, you did put out another game that is already currently out on the Switch, so why don't we just talk a little bit about that and get a little plug for that game.
Cool, yeah. So the game that we have out on the Switch right now is called Graceful Explosion Machine. It's a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up where you have 4 really overpowered weapons on each of your face buttons, and then we throw a ton of enemies on screen, and you have a good time blasting aliens.
And that's been out for a while. It's available just on Switch or Steam as well for that?
It is available on Switch, Steam, and PS4. It was a launch title on the Switch, so yeah.
Very cool. All right, well, thank you so much for the interview, Mo, that I remembered the name.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys at the next interview.
Cool, thanks for having me.